Pepys was the person who took the first photograph in 1827. This is one of his first photographs. But there's a catch here. I told you that the first photograph was taken in 1827, but the camera was invented in 1839. How? Pepys used what is called a camera obscura to take an impression. He modified this device. He used a tar-like substance to take an impression of the view of his balcony. That is how he was able to take the first photograph.
So photography, you have to remember, is a craft and an art. And it's very interesting when the craft turns into art, because there's a lot of technology behind this craft. And at some stage, the craft turns into an art. So photography is a confluence of both an art and technology. I'm Aditya Arya. I'm the founding director of Museo Camera. I was a photographer for 40 years, collected thousands of cameras because history of my own profession always fascinated me, and I established this museum. So analog was deep end of technology. It forced you to see, to create images here before pressing the button. Why? There was no delete button. Today 64 GB and a delete button gives you immense possibilities which were not there in cameras like this. It used to take hours to set up, to take one perfect picture, because there was no delete button. So that's a daguerreotype camera which goes back to 1860s. Do you know the beauty of daguerreotypes? This was the world's first most perfect system of photography, which was actually invented by Louis Daguerre. And how was it sold and advertised? It's very interesting. There was no word for photography. It was get your likeness done. That's the daguerreotype. This is the studios of likeness. This is what the studios were known as.
Date was 19th August 1839. Today we celebrate the World Photography Day. It is on this day. It is celebrated because of Louis Daguerre.
Archives look at other things. Collectors collect. Collectors are driven by numbers. I'm not driven by numbers. Somebody says, I have 10,000 cameras, 5,000 cameras. I said, I'm not interested in numbers. I'm interested in the story behind the image, behind the camera. If all these cameras start talking to you today, you know what will happen? You'll go mad, hearing their stories. So this is K20, which was made by a subsidiary of Kodak called Graflex Corporation. This was made during World War II, and these two famous images, iconic images, very sad images. When the atom bomb was dropped, was shot from a similar camera. 15,000 of these cameras were made, and we are lucky to have 13 of them at the museum. And when the atom bomb was being dropped, the photographer was sitting in the bay of the bomber and actually taking images through this.
The French invented photography, and the Britishers were the people who made the printing process of photography possible. Herschel was the person who invented the oldest printing process known to us, which is the cyanotype print process. The process remains the same till now, it has not changed. Herschel was able to identify that by mixing two iron salts, um, those salts can become UV sensitive. And when you expose them to UV light, you could get blue and white prints. That was cyanotype prints, and this is what those prints looked like, these blue cyan color prints.
Analog times is all about lot of there was physicality to photography which doesn't exist. You can't touch pixels of today, but photography was all about touch and feel, loading the film, processing the film and the chemicals, and then enlarging the negatives with your hand, dodging, burning, which have become commands. So these were not commands, these were hands-on experiences. We have a dark room here where you can actually create your images. It's a room which is, some people call it red light area, but red room, but actually it's dark room. Red light, you know why? Because the paper is not sensitive to red, and you can work in red light and process. But for processing a film, everything has to be done in pitch dark. So this is a kind of a mock-up of darkroom. Developer, stop bath and fixer. First you process your print in developer, you stop the process in stop bath, and you fix the print in fixer, which is sodium thiosulfate called hypo. To process film, it takes around 45 minutes. Yeah, there are different timings for each thing. First you have to process your film, take out negatives, and then make prints. Passion is something which drives you without thinking of results, which you are something which gives you immense pleasure, and not necessarily motivated by finance, money. Have you guys ever shot on a film? You guys shoot on a film, then you will understand how it happens.